So morning, everyone. As we all just come into the space today on the 16th of August, I've just asked people to put in the chat if they can, just how they're feeling and what we're bringing with ourselves today. So thank you for those who are here live for your inputs. And for those who are listening to the recording, you're welcome to just tune into yourself and just a couple of words of how you might be feeling today. And so today is the new moon. I think it's at 11:38 today for us here in South Africa. And it's a new moon between two supermoons and a blue moon. So it's actually looking at a lot of the words that are coming up here, like tight shoulders, uneasy, overwhelmed, a little anxious. There is energized and optimistic, which is, although we don't want to label things as good as bad, but shattered as well. We can understand when we know the energy of the moon on the tides, and one sees it at the coast. As Ellen says, the wind definitely impacts life in the Eastern Cape, and so does the moon, because you'll notice the differences in the tides and the ferocity of the waves when it is the full moon and when it's the new moon. And so here we are in the new moon between two supermoons, and in fact, the second supermoon is a blue moon that is coming up next in 2 weeks. And the blue moon, like we said last week, is the second full moon in a month. And I think it's actually a very long time again until we have another blue moon like this. I think I saw somewhere yesterday it was 14 years. But and so when you have such strong full moons, and the super moon just means that the moon is closest to the earth that it will in its orbit. So it's really strong and really powerful. And so our new moon will also be really powerful. And so perhaps it's time for us to listen to these feelings, because the new moon is a time of retreat. It's a time of turning inwards. I must just warn you that we still have our roofers for the last time. So I'm sorry, Shadow might bark and you might hear a bit of background noise, and just to notice that, and then we let it go. So it's a time of retreat and turning inwards, and the world is definitely darker. And a time of letting go and release, and perhaps honoring, instead of pushing ourselves that bit harder to do an extra hour of work in the evening after dinner, maybe it's a time for us to go into bed and read a book for a bit, or to do something that's nurturing or nourishing, or after lunch to maybe go for a gentle stroll instead of getting straight back to our work, or to put our feet up at 4 o'clock for 15 minutes or something like that. And so traditionally, the new moon time has always been a time where we can dream our intentions for the months to come. And it's similar to our menstrual time. It's our wise woman time, where we're most attuned to our thoughts and our needs and our fears and our fantasies. So it's a great time to journal and to see what comes up, and to also ask for guidance for our lives. And so it's also, I know for many people, it's a holiday time. Yeah, no wonder that's how I've been feeling, Claudia says, exactly. And I was feeling a bit sick last week, and I kind of kept ignoring it. I just kept dosing myself with my oils, and supplements, but I just kept going, and still went and drove 7 hours to be on Finn's hockey tour, and then the life on a sports tour. It's busy, it's fun, but I kept niggling, kept being in the background, and I kept ignoring it, kept pushing. And finally, when I got back on Sunday evening after another 7-hour drive, geez, it all caught up with me, and I've been really well, most of Monday I spent in bed, and my body said, well, if you're not going to listen, I'm going to have to shout. And so I had to really slow down and rest. And so it really is, you know, if we don't listen to our bodies, they start to shout louder and louder and louder until we do. And so it's really a time to honor our bodies and to really be a bit gentle on ourselves, not from a place of copping out or being lazy, but being compassionate with ourselves. Because as we said so last week, there's so much tough stuff going on in the world. And so many of us know people personally having a very hard time, or we are having a very hard time. And then the earth is having a very hard time. This time last week, we hadn't even, the devastation of the fires in Maui hadn't even happened yet. And that looking at the pictures and videos of that, it just seems so bizarre, like a total destruction. It doesn't look like a normal fire pattern. It looks more like an explosion or ignition because you've got trees still standing, yet the cars are just melted. So events like this can make us very fearful of the world and all the illnesses we're seeing around us and that. And whether it's of the climate change narrative, which is one that as I explore more and research more, I'm rejecting more. I certainly didn't used to, but the other alternative is also very, very scary. So whatever it is, our soothing balm and our answers lie in nature. And I just want to play this Pam Gregory video. I'm not sure if the sound's going to come out clearly, but I hope so. It's just a minute. I just want to share it with you. I mentioned it last week, but I really just think it's so important. So I'd love to share it with you.
Yes. It's all about, you know, you think of the two jaggedy lines in the glyph, it's all about energy and frequency. And we are learning to become masters of that by sitting at home on your sofa, closing your eyes, dropping into your heart and watching your breath. That is the first step in our mastery of energy and frequency. Because that will change your energy state. It will change your blood viscosity. It'll change many biomarkers in your physiology simply by doing that for a few moments. And there's lots of evidence for that. You know, you find that all over the place. So if we can become masters of our own energy and frequency, we start to change the quantum wave structure, particularly if we can come together in a mass meditation or even online. We are creating this energetic tsunami of love, peace, joy, and compassion.
So did that come out clearly? Were you able to hear that? I hope so. And that's so when she says that's what we're doing together and all these things that we change physiologically in our bodies, this is exactly the work of the HeartMath Institute. So when she says you can find lots of evidence on it online, the HeartMath Institute is the first place you go and look, because that's I think it's a non-profit organization doing the research on how our bodies can affect the quantum field and how our also getting to this coherent place, which we do when we drop into our bodies, when we drop into our breath, can really change our biorhythm, our blood viscosity, our blood pressure, can really change our bodies. So that's really what we are doing every time we drop into our breath and into our heart space, and every time we meet here online and we sit and we just have this pause in our day and our week, and we gather together. And so it's not just for us, although it very much is for us, but it's also for the greater world that we do this for. And so I invite you to just take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just allow your energy to settle into your body as I read the poem to you, and then we settle into our meditation. The Peace of Wild Things. When despair grows in me, and I wake in the middle of the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood rake, rests his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water. I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting for their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. When despair grows in me and I wake in the middle of the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting for their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world and am free. And so I invite us to allow ourselves to settle for this time, finding a comfortable position, either seated on the ground or on a chair, assuming a posture that is upright with a strong, straight spine and a soft belly or front, with a posture that is comfortable but allows you to be fully awake for each moment. Feeling your feet on the floor, your legs uncrossed if you're in a chair, resting on the floor if you're seated on a cushion or the ground. And just keeping your gaze soft, perhaps your eyes closed, or just directed to the ground in front of you. Sinking into this meditation with an open awareness, with our radar wide open, being open to sounds around, distant sounds, and close-in sounds. Noticing all sounds and just letting them land on our entire body. Following them with a curious awareness. Noticing a tendency to perhaps label sounds as good or bad, wanted or unwanted, but letting go of that judgment and just allowing sounds to be in the space around us. Not holding on to specific sounds either, just noticing. And if your mind starts to wander, which it will, because that's what minds do, just anchoring again on a sound in the space around you. And if it's quiet, just anchoring perhaps to the sound of your breath. And then dropping in closer, coming right up close to your boundary with the world, settling on your skin, noticing where it brushes up against the cool air around you. Where it's wrapped by your clothes. Noticing where it's in contact with the floor or cushion or wherever you're sitting. And just spending a few moments exploring these sensations on the surface of your skin. And then changing our lens of awareness from a wide angle lens to a more focused lens. Noticing the air as it enters our body, as it brushes against our nostrils, as it moves the back of our throat. And bringing now our focused attention just to this very movement of air into the body. And then air leaving the body. And if sounds come up around or distractions or thoughts, just noticing them, letting go of them like we might let go of a balloon, and coming back to the sensation of air brushing against the nostrils to the back of the throat and out again. And then following this path of the air down into our chest cavity, noticing the rise and fall. The expansion and contraction. Just watching the rhythm of our breath, the rhythm of our heartbeat, the rhythm of our body in this moment. And then bring the lens of our awareness even more focused to our heart space. Connecting with our heart. Inviting a feeling of gratitude for this moment into our heart space. Sensing into this gratitude in your heart space as if it had a color, a light, a texture, however you find it there today. Allowing that to gently expand from the heart space outwards. And in this moment, inviting an image of someone we care for or love, could be ourselves, could be someone else, a family member, a friend. It could be a few people. It could be a place that needs love and support, and just inviting that into your heart space. Noticing how our heart space can expand to encompass us all. Still maintaining a sensation of gratitude and love as we hold this image close to our hearts. And gently now letting go again, as we would let go of a balloon and watch it drift up. So we let go of these images, praying for the highest possible outcome, and letting them go and just returning to our bodies and our breaths in this moment. The sensing into the settledness in our own bodies for these last few moments. When despair grows in me and I awake in the middle of the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting for their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. In these last few moments, just following the sounds of the singing bell as it leads us back to our room, to our full awareness. And gently, whenever you are ready, just opening your eyes or looking around, taking in the faces and colors, the names on the screens. It's lovely to have you all here with us. So lovely to see your names and faces. So thank you. And you're welcome to put anything in the chat or unmute, and it's wish you a blessed day. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back here next week.
Thank you, Nicola. Beautiful.
Thank you, Angina. Lovely to have you. Thank you, Silky.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hi, Cassava. So lovely to see you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining. I don't always have a wonderful soothing energy, Silky. Thank you. But this helps me to have a soothing energy for myself. Thank you. Thanks, Heather. It's lovely to meet you back. Thank you, Heidi. Thanks, Claudia.
Next, I think what Pam Gregory was saying about that collective calm. I mean, we know that, but somehow hearing it from like this authority figure just reinforces it, right?
Such a great reminder. Exactly. I'll send you the clip. I just screenshot it because it's just kept thinking, you know, we've got to remember the importance of what we're doing and how we can affect the world.
100%. Thank you. I'll see you at 8.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and for those who want to join at 8, I'm doing a little mindful drop on frankincense and breathe today.
Thanks, Nikki. That was gorgeous. I've got my Zen masters here with me.
Okay.
Cool. And there's Storm and that view. So yes, I'm feeling wonderful, and having that breath work was just gorgeous. Thank you. It was very, very nice. Missed your mum though. I'm sure they're having a lovely time on the ramp, on their walk.
And too, yeah, I hope so too. I'm looking forward to hearing about it. I'm sure the stars will be magnificent with the new moon.
Yes, cool. Thanks, Nix. Bye then.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week. Thank you for joining, and please feel free to share and to invite others if you feel that they would enjoy it.